Hello, I'm Rowena Hicks, and I wonder, are you truly living up to your full potential? Are you living your best version of you? Join me today as we delve deep into this issue to look at what is your best version of yourself and how do you overcome the barriers to preventing you to be that. So let's start here by looking at steps to realizing your potential. Let's think about, what does this really mean? Is it about practicing self-care? I don't really think that's where the core of the issue is. There's lots out there on social media about practice self-care. But actually, if you don't value yourself, if you don't see your worth, as you don't notice the impact you have just because you are you can't do that anyway. Let me tell you a little bit about a time where I was working very long hours, 2 long hours, my children at home, and they were about to go on holiday with their dad. And I rushed home on the Friday to try and get them ready to go to the airport with him. And I was late as usual. And one of them said to me, Mum, you said you would shave my head. So I said, okay, no problem. Where's the machine? I'll do it quick. So I ran over, plugged it in, got it ready. They sat down and I went through the center from the front to the back of their hair. And I'd forgotten to put on the number 4 attachment, hadn't I? So, we laugh about it now. It's about 8 years later, I think. We do laugh. At the time, I didn't laugh. It was just a terrible moment of me not thinking, me not prioritizing my children, me trying to juggle work and home, my children. And the message was really that work was so important and so busy, then the kids had to fit in around that. And sometimes big mistakes were made. I've written about that a little bit in my book, but do you know, I think they've forgiven me. They get it. They love me anyway. But there's a message there about what is really important. And was I living the best version of me? No, I wasn't. I was trying to juggle too many things. I'd said yes to too many things at work. Difficult to say no, I get that. It's another discussion completely. But actually, how could I have changed that? What might that have looked like? So what is your current state? Are you living your best self? Now, I was not then. I was juggling everything and I couldn't see a way out. I was just so lost in the busyness and the chaos, the disorganization, the juggle, home, school, family, health, lots of things just going down the tubes, frankly. And I was doing my absolute best. I loved my job. I love my children. Priority is my children. But I'm not sure they always encountered that version of me. I'm going to talk a little bit in a minute about what is the best version of me and what does that look like and how do I know what that is. But first, let me ask, what are the barriers to growth? What are the barriers to becoming the best version of you? Do you even know what that might look like? Are you trying to be perfect? Are you trying to do everything absolutely brilliantly? Because I can tell you right now, you can't. I've never met anyone who could anyway. Do you encounter self-doubt, fear of not being good enough, imposter syndrome? I had to embrace my imperfections. Let me tell you about, I had my interview for deputy head. And they asked me to have an interview, to do a task, and then to take an assembly. So I thought, okay, I haven't seen a lot of assemblies for a long time because I'd been a Senko and a specialist teacher. And the classes that I'd covered, if there was an assembly, I'd run out and see a parent for the Senko side of my job. So I didn't stay in the assembly. So I did the assembly, and in my feedback for the interview, they said, you did great in everything, but your assembly was weak. It really knocked me because I thought I was relatively good at my job. Well, it knocked me. So when I started the deputy job, I had to take assemblies, and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm not very good at this. So I had to face my imperfections. So to be the best version of me, I had to learn. So the question is, are you teachable? I had to ask for help. Do you feel vulnerable, or do you feel courageous? Do you feel you could ask for help? People were so kind when I reached out to get help, and I had to practice. And do you know what? It's now one of my favorite things to do is to take assembly. So I'm probably one of my best versions of myself when I take assemblies, because I love it. Give me 600 children to stand in front of, and I'm in my element. I just love it. But I didn't know till I tried, and I learned, and I asked for help. So I had to realize my imperfections, my failure, if you like, my vulnerability. And then I became courageous and overcame that to become the best version in that side of my job. We have so many sides of our jobs and our lives, don't we? So that's just one. But what are your barriers to growth? What would they be? Are there areas where you know you're not being your best version? So let's talk now about what is your best version. So if I tell you straight up that you have value, you are precious, you are special, you are amazing just because you're you. It doesn't matter if you're incredibly successful. It doesn't matter if you feel that you're not doing well enough right now. You are still of such value, because every single human being has that incredible value. Every individual that I have worked with over many years and many schools has been amazing. Every one of them. All of you bring something different to your role, whether you're an admin or teaching assistant, teacher, leader. It doesn't matter. Maybe you're not even in school. Your worth is intrinsically held inside you because of who you're created to be. Whatever your belief system, you are precious. So we work from that first place, and your best version of you will only reveal itself when you come to understand that. Now, for me, that's a tough journey, because I have been told over the years that I don't have value, that my opinion particularly doesn't have value, or that my words don't have value, that that perhaps I'm a burden on other people, things like that. So I have to fight to understand that actually that is a lie. So when I've failed an observation, for example, we have to confront ourselves in that situation, look at what is true and what we can learn from. So if you have an observation and you're told X was really good and Y needs work, instead of just focusing and getting depressed on the Y, can you look at the X as well and actually internalize that? Because then you can start to step up into your strengths. So I just want to briefly talk about strengths. This comes up in my book as well, because understanding your strengths is so crucial to be able to be your best version, to be who you're truly meant to be. Do you know your strengths, the ones you really value in yourself? Do you know what they would be? You might pause this and just have a think and write down 2 or 3 things. So for me, I would say the things I really value in myself are my integrity, my kindness or compassion, and my calm. Now, I don't know if that's what other people see in me. I know they see other things, other strengths, because I've asked them. I do training on it. It's fascinating. Team activity is really empowering. But if I'm walking in integrity, if I'm able to be compassionate to those around me, and if I'm feeling calm, I know I'm at my best version of me. What 3 core competencies or strengths do you value in yourself? Now, recently, I've been trying to move house. I have just been divorced again, and I've had surgery. So I have been in pain a lot and quite upset, and there's a roller coaster of emotions. And sometimes I feel myself getting a bit short-tempered. I'm not really sleeping a lot. And it's difficult to be calm all the time. And I've had people reaching out to me to help me rather than necessarily being able to help other people. So what's the best version of me when I'm feeling overwhelmed and quite stressed? Well, if I take that reflective time to think, am I sticking with my core strengths that I really value? Can I bring them back in to the central bit of me and live from there? Then I can still be the best version of me. I can even be the better version of me, because we learn in the storm, don't we? And actually, as we reach out to others for help, we build those relationships. There's a massive bonus. So think about your strengths. Might sound so simple, but it really matters. Where do you see yourself using them in the day? Can you get a few more times in your day where you can exercise those strengths, whatever that looks like? I remember saying to a young boy when he came in, because he'd been disrupting his class all morning. So he came to see me in lunchtime, and I was talking to him about his morning and how he didn't need to act that way. And I said, you're special. You don't need to act that way. He goes, what? I said, you're special. You're an amazing young boy, and you don't need to do this to get your teacher's attention. She thinks you're special anyway. And we went on then to talk about how he could change his behavior in the afternoon. And his mum came to see me, I think it was the next day, and said, do you think my child's special? He says you're telling him he's special. And I said, absolutely, he's special. She goes, oh, as if that was a revelation to her. So all the chat I'd had about sort of discipline and sort of behavior and sort of responding to adults and all that, all out the window for him, apart from he heard he was special. Now we do that for the children. Why don't we do it for each other? Because after he heard that, he sat up straighter. He smiled when he saw me. His mum was just beaming with pride. What a change for him. Now, what about us as adults? We all need that. Could you tell a colleague something true, but something that you appreciate about them? Just so they feel seen. Gives them a better chance to be the best version of themselves. Because when we're overwhelmed and crushed and feeling not good enough, it's really difficult to see the positive side of life. So to reach your potential, you need to be able to value yourself. And one of the key elements of that really helps actually is to value those around you, whatever that looks like for you. So your best version of yourself is not when you're overwhelmed and reaching burnout to isolate yourself, to go onto your phone a lot, to feel shame and guilt. It's actually to think about what are your strengths and how can you use them? How can you overcome the barriers that are stopping you from revealing your best self? You know when you are at your best. How can you find what is stopping that and see if you can put some things in place? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, small steps. If you did one tiny step a day, just reminding yourself what you're grateful for, what you're good at, where your strengths are. You could even ask colleagues, what do they appreciate about you? To become the best version of yourself, to reach your potential. I hope that encourages someone today. Thanks for listening. I hope you took something of value from today. If you want to connect, I'm at rowenahicks.com, or I have a Facebook group, which is Preventing Teacher Burnout. So I look forward to connecting to you at one of those.